the whole play of the human condition is in some ways. Especially the play of the spiritual seeker is very much like this, where when we come to satsang, we come to the presence of a great scripture like the Ashtavakra Gita, and it seems so obvious. She said these are the five tattvas, the five elements. They're just coming and going. What she implies in that also is that I remain, I am not coming and going. But when it comes, it can seem like it gets me. When it comes, it really seems like it gets me. And then when I look at something like this, it seems so obvious again that none of this truly gets me in any real way. It gets this play, this aspect of me, still gives support existence in my identity. So that is why, if it was snap, if it was just, if all that was needed was read the Ashtavakra Gita once or one or two verses like this, you see, then we would not need satsang every day, would we? Because the power of conditioning, the power of identity can seem like it has its own momentum, you see. It has been built up. One example I share is that suppose you looked at a photo of Papaji and you always thought that that is Nisargadatta Maharaj. Suppose you always thought that is Nisargadatta Maharaj. And somebody comes and says, no, not Maharaj, this is Papaji. No, this is not. And then you have that, satsang interaction for a bit, and then you recognize, yes, it is Papaji. But next time when you see it, again, the concept will come that this is Maharaj. Because for a long time you've picked up the condition that it is somebody else, it is something else. In the same way, because in this play, we picked up seemingly for a long time that we are something that is truly affected by the coming and going of the phenomenal realm. Therefore, it can seem to take time. But the fact is that every time, we have to do the work of picking up the false identity about I. Although it can seem very natural, you see. Just like for a smoker, it can seem very natural to pick up a cigarette and light it. It can seem actually more relaxing that way, more effortless that way. You see? So that is what is being pointed to. That because it has become a habit for us to pick up the identity, therefore it can seem like it just, many will report that it just happens when this comes, you see. And to them I say, okay, it just happens, it's fine. But at least now, what is it that you are? And during satsang, even during satsang, just once, if you can come to this recognition, just like this, you say, when I read a verse like this, it's so clear, I'm not this. See? That much is good prasad for one satsang. That one moment, you see, that one moment. Because that one little bit of insight, that one moment is cleaning up the false idea. What are we, in the play, what are we moving towards? We're moving towards that place where when these things come, events happen, the interpretation of those comes. Then mostly we are just able to let them come and go. You see? Mostly we are just able to let them come and go. If not, just laugh at them or something like that. So how does it come to that point? For somebody who's over their addiction, when the thought comes and says, would you like a cigarette? You say, no, why would I want to spoil my lungs? You see, why would I want to do that? In the same way as the mind comes with its offers, you see, the same offer which seems so compelling because of the habit, you see, that has been built up over, I don't know how many million lifetimes. You don't even have to get into those things. You see? So, yeah, so don't bother with how long it has been picked up this habit. It's just that we can be grateful that at least now we've come to this place where we're looking at this habit. You see, we have some distance from it. And I know that those moments, those times where it does get picked up, it can seem more intense because our sensitivity is increasing. You see? Our somebody who's not, again, I don't know why I'm using this example, presuming for somebody who's not smoked for a long time, suddenly to have a whiff, what do you call it? Have a drag from the cigarette would feel very painful, I'm sure. You see, so that because our sensitivity is increasing, then when we pick up identification again, it can seem more painful. It can seem like it's stronger. Sometimes what happens is in the design of the play itself, to make sure that we don't pick up any complacency or arrogance, it can seem like my whole life is turning upside down. Events seem to become stronger. The interpretation of those events seem to get stronger. Many times we expect come into satsang expecting our worldly life to improve in some way. But many times we come and we have just squeezed everything that we believed about ourselves is getting squeezed out of us. You see? But as we continue with this rehab, as we continue with this satsang, we will come to a point where, whether we believe it right now or not, we will come to a point of pure gratitude for all of these events, even that which squeezed us the most. So, she's very right. When we read Ashtavakra, when we come to satsang, we see actually not even these. When we, in a moment, we can see the greater aspect of me is that which is the witness of this entire movement. Most of us in satsang can see this very simply. And yet, for many of us, as we get back into day-to-day life, it can seem like, oh, these things still, it gets us. You see? So the problem is not so much that it comes and it goes. The problem is not so much that it comes and it goes. The problem that when it comes, it seems to have a hold over us. It seems to mean something for us. It seems to affect us or hurt us in some way. So, as again and again we are clarifying every day, what is this I? Who am I? When you see that the one that is affected actually doesn't exist. It's just a set of sensations, a set of emotions, a set of judgments, a set of interpretations which are playing out within my being. So, this is the whole point of Ashtavakra. Otherwise, Ashtavakra also would have just said one verse and finished. That's why there are so many pages. So, although the recognition is instantaneous, it is the momentum of conditioning which is getting replaced. Which is that two, three things that come up about this condition. One is that because it has been built up over a long period of time, it can seem like it takes a long time to grow. And that's why we need to repeat these things. We need to look again and again at what we are. Second thing is that because it is like this does not mean that we make a plan about how to get rid of it. It only means that in the right now, what are you believing yourself to be? It's all about the right now. Because actually, right now, you are empty of all condition. Right now, you are empty of all condition. And this can also sound contrary to what I'm saying, but it's not. I'll elaborate on this. You're empty of all conditioning right now. But the instant we pick up a condition about ourselves, it can seem like we're not just picking up that condition, but it can seem like I'm picking up my entire basket of conditioning. So it plays like this. The mind's game is like this. It is not that when you pick up just this condition right now, I want a chocolate cake. It is not just the I want a chocolate cake condition that gets picked up. It's not that I am just I am, and my only condition is that I want chocolate cake. I am that which wants chocolate cake. It's not just, it's not that, is it? When I pick up the idea that I want chocolate cake, the whole idea of this individual I is picked up. And this individual I already has the sense of separation. It already has a sense of all the previous desire, all the previous grievances, all the opposites of forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, truth. All of that is part of the condition of this art. So there is good news and there is bad news. The good news is much greater than the bad news. The good news is that in this moment we start the moment empty of all condition. It is the best news actually. And this is true. It is true till you start to think about it. You remain empty till you start to think about it. In spite of whatever the sensations might be, we remain empty of condition. But it can seem like one condition. Why does this one say like this? Or why is this one like this? Why can't he or she listen to Father properly in Satsang? Some condition like that. And the whole separate identity, the whole idea I have about myself seems to come back. You see. So that is the play of the good news and the bad news. but why I say it's the best news? That in this moment again, it's empty, finished. It's like the de-addiction has already happened. But the thoughts of the temptation keep coming back to us. And this feeling, this idea that consciousness itself has that if I pick this up, it could have some meaning for me. It is relevant, it is true for me. So that's why these terms like, I shared a lot when we looked at these the first time. If you look at a term like forgiveness, it can seem like a very normal thing. Everybody says forgive, forgive. But actually, there is something very deep in that. Because as we discover what we are, we find this one, this being, which actually cannot have a grievance. It sees everything happening within itself. All is a movement of its own light. You see? Or your recognition could be that not even this I am. I am that which is the witness even of being. Completely unconcerned, untouched by any of this. So how can I have a grievance against my own aspect, which might be playing out as some relationship or as something else? So forgiveness is this kind of free passage. I read somewhere very beautiful definition of forgiveness is to give thoughts or conditions or grievances about that one free passage. They come and they go. So they're not about me. No grievance is truly about you. So that's why Bhagavan said very beautifully, actually, he was talking about some Kundalini awakening or something with someone. And he said, why bother with all this? I have given you the self-inquiry, which takes care of everything that you have to experience on your spiritual path. So if Kundalini has to happen, it'll happen. If forgiveness has to come, it'll come. If lust has to go, it will go. If hunger has to, if greed has to reduce, it will reduce. You see? All of this. Just by self-inquiry, just by this recognition of who I truly am. The only way that consciousness is designed to make itself feel like it is suffering is through this identification with thoughts. So now what can happen is, as we see that we are empty now, the mind has a trump card. The mind's trump card is what? Yes, you're empty now, you're with Ananta, you're reading Ashtavakra, the Guru's presence is with you, you're empty now, fine. But what about yesterday when you got so angry with your mother-in-law or something? so, so in that moment, what happens to the emptiness? You see, we picked up a condition which was but what happened yesterday, as if there was an individual I yesterday which continues here today. So that's how it works. So what happens is that's why I say that, okay, it's fine. At least in satsang, at least in the inquiry, for a few moments? Can we remain empty of even these conditions about what happened yesterday or how is it going to happen after this? Is it? Otherwise, many times it can happen that we are in satsang, but we're still thinking about past and we're still hoping that something will improve about the future. Whereas all that I am saying is, what about now? What about this here and now? So I used to say very often that my arch nemesis is the checker guy. The checker guy, you heard of it when you heard of this checker guy who's making this report card, you see, about yourself. He's keeping track. Today, so many enlightenment points. You see, so many stars, 5-star enlightenment. Today, there's 3 demerits, 3 black dots because you got angry, you see, or something like that. So this checker guy, this one who's making the report card, you see, constantly, is the one because I say to this one, uh, please do the self-inquiry or just look at what is now. Father, right now I'm 90% looking at what is now and 10% looking at what is past. You see, any instruction that you give it, it'll make it into a checking, it'll make it into a benchmarking. You see? And this is truly the bane of the spiritual seeker. Because the spiritual seeker feels like by doing XYZ, coming to a particular level, I will come here. And it feels like the way we did in high school, the way we did in college, it feels like I will do it that way, which is that, okay, yesterday I knew half of World War II, how it started, now today I will learn the rest. Is it like that? I will make progress on my previous insights. Here, I say, okay, use your most pristine previous insights, awakening experience can become a part of your spiritual ego. So remain empty of that. You are complete right here, right now. The checker guy has whatever it is saying is meaningless about the reality which you're tasting about yourself now. And it has just a few tricks up its sleeve. The most important one is, yes, this is fine now, but yesterday, this happened. Or, it's good. I hope this doesn't go after satsang. And again, we move away from this and we create a limited identity about ourselves and we want to cater to that one. You forget about that one is better. You leave that one to me. The one that needs spiritual progress, the one that wants to be a certain way, you leave that one to me. All you have to do is follow what I'm saying in this moment. If you're in satsang, if you're open to the words of satsang, all inquiry, all surrender is happening. Nothing you have to do. So in satsang, nothing to do. And outside satsang, everything my problem. That's the simplest way to live. Then if the but comes, but, what about this? What about this? Take it up with my father. It's his problem. He has told me. The mind will come. I'm just sharing some of the tricks so that we can see them, we notice them, and then we don't fall for them that easily. The mind will come. It will say, yes. Father was talking about spirituality. He was not talking about the real world. You see? He can't take care of my life in that way. He can't pay for the bills. He can't, take care of taking my children from here to there or something like that. It's not that. There is no real world and satsang world. It's another very powerful trick of the mind. It says, yes, in satsang, it's different. But when I go to the real world or my day-to-day life, then something changes. Nothing changes. In reality, nothing changes. It's just that a little bit of the energetic support which you get by being in the presence of satsang can seem to not be there in those times. But actually, the reality of you remains unchanged. So the words of satsang, the surrender, the letting it be, is applicable whether you're in satsang or whether you're interacting with a grocer or a butcher. It doesn't really matter. That's the best part of having a guru. You see, the best part of having a guru is that everything is his problem. If we have a guru and we continue to make things our problem, then it's like you bought the best car for yourself, you see? Or you inherited the best car, or it was given to you, and still you're huffing and puffing every day to work, you see? Walking or running to work. What is a better example? Bhagwan had a better example. He said to to get into the train and to keep running, thinking that I will get to my destination faster. You see, it's folly. So having a guru is to get on the guru train. There's nothing for you to do, really. And what do I mean by this? Especially don't check on your spiritual progress. It's not your problem anymore.